power play. And this is something that, you know, I've complained about it for 4 years now because it hasn't really been consistently good. Again, talk about the consistencies. The only consistency is inconsistent. Um, since November 29th, that's the 8-5 loss against the Sharks, where I know they had at least two power play goals, and they were both Shane Wright. The Kraken's power play ranks sixth in the NHL at 33.3%. Just I don't know. What are our thoughts on the man advantage? We'll start with Sylvia, and then when she wraps up, Jade, you can take over, and if there's anything I need to sprinkle on, I can do that. But I mean, it's obviously very encouraging, and what you'd hope to see when this staff kind of got overhauled this past off season.
Yeah, I think shot quality is up. I think production is also up, as we can obviously tell. There was a super cool stat on Twitter, I think yesterday during the Lightning game. I think Allison Ballard might have tweeted that most of our power play goals in the last like 5 to 7 games have come through in the like last 30 seconds of the power play, which I think is fantastic. I think it really shows because so when we're talking about the power play, people are like, you're on the man advantage, just shoot the puck, right? And I think when we're seeing these goals come in super late, we're seeing a team that's like willing to set up plays that are going to work. And a lot of these goals that they have been producing are like tipping goals, or they're like goals that are getting deflected in. So it goes back to this whole new strategy. I think it was Vince Dunn or Alexia talked about it the game before the game against the Bruins during a post game interview about how they just need to rush the puck. They just need to get people in front of the net. And I think that's really what's been working on these power plays is that they are getting players, they're setting up plays where they're just confusing the goalie. They're kind of like they're kind of being nuisances, and I think that's what a lot of their other goals have also come like their man advantage, the 5 man advantage goals have also come in like that, where they're just being nuisances, and it's really really working on the power play with all of these goals coming in those last 30 seconds. They're like thinking it through. It's no longer an act of desperation. It's like an act of actually knowing how to play the game. Again, going back to the whole identity thing, it's an act of knowing how to be a Seattle Kraken in like the fourth year in.
I don't think that I could have said any of that better. So I'm gonna leave it at that. You encapsulated all of my feelings. So,
See, again, this is why I like doing these things because we can
yep.
bounce the ideas. You know what I mean? Yeah, no, that's really well put. And I was actually Sylvia and I think we were poking around different stats and notes before we started here. And I can look at it again, and this will be a great transition later on to our standouts. But I looked at some of the guy, I looked at like it was I'll find it here, but it was high danger chances essentially. And some of the guys who are at the top were the guys who have been the most productive since the month of December started, and guys who get power play minutes in Shane Wright and Oliver Bjorkstrand. Those are guys who get to the net. It's something that's been the most frustrating to me in this franchise's existence, um, has been their like ineffectiveness at getting to the front of the net. There are guys who do it consistently. Jaden Schwartz is often in the front. Johnny Gord is, but obviously he's hurt right now. Shane Wright is a young guy, but he does it. He gets to the hard areas, and that's why I've always been a fan of Shane Wright and his development. Even
Mhm.
when he was earlier in the season, before he got scratched, it was like at least he's going to the net. Like that's something I've enjoyed. The two power play goals, um, I think from the first San Jose game on, like, excuse me, Shane had three or four power play goals. Like all of his goals were coming on the man advantage, and a bunch of them were just him on the back door, walking right down left untouched, which is funny to me. But yeah, just the amount of times, such, I mean, good things happen when you go to the net. That's obvious. right?
Yep.
Like I hear that all the time in hockey. Um, and oh yeah, high danger expected goals. Okay, I look at this. Jared McCann's at the top of that, but that's not a surprise. He's your best forward. But yeah, guys who go to the net are guys I just talked about. Jared McCann, Jaden Schwartz, Oliver Bjorkstrand, Yanni Gord, and then Shane Wright's there. Like those are, Shane Wright obviously different because he's a younger guy, but I don't know. I like seeing that from someone, and that obviously would lead to our standouts, but some also it just looks better. People talk about the eye test, right? And sometimes I think that's just garbage. Um, the power play has just looked better. The movement has looked better. There are so many times in October and a good amount of November where I sit there and I'm like, all right, power play time, and I'm like, that just looked like trash. They
Yep.
didn't get any attempts on that. There's just nothing there, nothing of substance. And that's when I think Edzo in one of the broadcasts said, you just need to take your five best players at this point and put them on the fucking whoop. There it goes. All right.
It's
Well,
over.
there's my
It's
one.
over.
I didn't even get to the end of the show. Yeah.
Dang.
And just put them on the ice. And that would um be a lot of the same guys that they put on the ice anyway.
No, I
Um,
agree with that though, because same sentiment where I'm sitting there watching the game with you, where we're talking about it in real time, and we both are like, what the hell are you guys doing?
it's just
To
so
put it
many of those
nicely.
games in those first 2 months where they just didn't even get more than one or two attempts off. I'm like, then what are we
Hmm.
like? I think, Sylvia talking about in the beginning where it's like you are on the man advantage, just get the puck off. It didn't even look like you were on the man advantage. It looked like
Yep.
you were shorthanded at this point.
Yeah.
So, it's just encouraging. I don't know if they can continue this, 33% production rate on the power play. I'd like to see it. And I don't know. This isn't really anything founded, but there were a few power plays where they had both Vince Dunn and Brandon Montour on the ice, which is fascinating to me. I don't know how it works schematically, and then obviously, you don't have. I don't imagine you'd keep them one of those two on the ice for the second unit, but no, I don't know. It's been good to see it, just improve generally because obviously, you look at some of these games, they'll go 0 for 3, 0 for 4, and that could be the difference if you're able to get one, at least one of those uh, going. So, yeah, we'll go into standouts.
Hey, Charles.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, where are you going to watch all those Kraken away games?
Kraken away games, making a push. I was thinking of coming here just because Rough and Tumble is the home of Circling Seattle Sports, only if that's okay with you.
I mean, I love that idea. Hope to see you here.
Hello there, everybody. Charles Hammaker here with Circling Seattle Sports. I'm joined by Jen Barnes of Rough and Tumble that we happen to be at right now.
Yeah.
Jen, why don't you talk to me a little bit about what we're announcing today, which is our partnership.
I'm so excited about this. First of all, I just want to say thank you. I think all of us here at Rough and Tumble are big fans of what you and your team at Circling Seattle Sports does. And so, I know you know this, but when you came to me with this idea, it just seemed pretty natural. And it's not just me. I think a lot of people in the sports community in Seattle also really respect you and your team. So it's exciting to kind of see these two things melding together, and we're really excited to start implementing some of the things and then hopefully seeing you guys a little bit more often.
Yeah, and so with what Jen says about seeing us more often, we've got a few things in the works, but you'll see watch parties here. We'd like to do a few different of our community drives, which you'll hear about here in a little bit from now. We've got to make our announcements one at a time. I can't drop everything.
Not everything
Right.
all at once.
But this has been a home for a lot of our team, whether it's myself, our friend, our photographer Liz is behind the camera. Liz is here often, so our team has kind of adopted this place kind of like our own since I saw you at our soft launch. So, it's been great to have that support. And in a lot of ways, and part of the reason I wanted to do this was the Rough and Tumble embodies a lot of what Circling Seattle Sports wants to do. obviously with women's sports, with the storm and the rain, but just being, having the game on, every game on.
Yep.
How much of that, did you see a line kind of even before this idea was mentioned when I first met you?
I think it's always felt like that. I mean, you and your team were here on opening night, and you just feel like you're part of the space, so it felt like really natural. And the fact that you actually cover all of the sports really makes your group stand out. So you are always covering all the rain games, all the storm games. You'd have women's softball, you'd have women's basketball, you'd have women's hockey. We love it. So all of those things, and obviously passionate M's fans, passionate Hawks fans, and passionate Kraken and Sounders fans. So really, from our perspective, those two things meshed really well.
So, you heard it from Jen herself, but this will be our home for all of these events, whether it's you can't make it to these games at home, we're always going to direct you to Rough and Tumble, and obviously the games on the road as well. All these, we're talking about the rain, they've got their schedule out finally, but this will be our home for that.
Great.
The storm games on the road, this is our home.
Yeah.
For all intents and purposes.
I love it.
And when I mentioned it to Jen, when I first had this idea come up, I had this idea come up wearing a pink wig.
Yes, you did.
Ahead of Megan Rapinoe's final regular season home game for the Reign this past year.
Yeah.
I told her it's because I wanted this to feel genuine.
Yep.
I wanted a connection to feel genuine, and it does. So that's what this is. Rough and Tumble is the home of Circling Seattle Sports, and I'm so excited to finally announce this partnership.
I can't wait.